Well, I should have put a green screen.
Okay? Do you know what a beauty heels?
Okay.
Use the heels you got.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Jennifer Ramon Elizardo, and I wanted to share this video on YouTube. And of course, I called it 13 and Pregnant. For the teenage moms out there. Just a little real quick background of me. I was at one time 13 and pregnant. I am now 33 years old, fixing to be 34. And I have four beautiful children, three girls, one boy, and two grandbabies. Okay. So, yeah. So you can know that, I'm a walking testimony, as you can see. It's possible to keep trucking and keep pushing, so this is why I wanted to make this YouTube, to reach out to, because I know there's a lot going on in this world. There's a lot that's, there's just a lot that needs to be said, and a lot of people that needs to be reached out, and being that the abortions, it's an issue right now, with women and stuff like that. But just do know, I know being 13 and pregnant can be tough. Being a teenager can be tough, especially like, knowing that you can. It's like you were just a child at one time, and then all of a sudden, everything just bang shatters on you, and and you're pregnant now, and you're 13 years old. So, with that being said, I want to real quick. Hold on, just give me just a second. Quick. All right, I'm so sorry about that. That was my son, as you guys can tell. I don't know how to do this whole lighting stuff yet, but I will learn. So being this is my first video, so I didn't know how to start this. I did not know how to start this. I didn't know, like, all I knew is that I needed to make something happen, right? Like I felt like something was in me. I have to reach out to the world, and hopefully it will reach out to an audience, and the ones that have no hope, or that lose faith and have lost faith because you're a teenage mom, or you have became a teenage mom. But do know that there is hope out there. There's a lot of hope. Okay. And it can happen. You can make the best thing out of your life, being blessed with a child or children's at a teenage years can be very hectic, but at the same time, it can be very life changing. Okay. So just keep that in mind, that, things in life do happen. You're not alone. You're definitely not alone. And I definitely, when I felt like I was alone, I had it in my heart and kept my faith, and knew from the back of my heart that I wasn't going to be alone through this journey of mine, right? So, mind you, I let me start off by like saying, um, this video is not meant for any teenagers to go out there and get pregnant. No, this is not for that. You guys know there is not. Practice abstinence. I'm all about abstinence, protection, and stuff like that. So you guys out there, do not go out there and oh, she said it's cool to be 13 and pregnant. No, no, it's not. It just, for the ones that are and are dealing with it now, it is a good way to reach out to them and to know that they are not alone. There is hope out there. Just keep your faith in yourself. Know that you were blessed for a reason, and God gave you this blessing, and he this and if he didn't know that, he didn't think that you are gonna were be able to keep this child or raise this child, like he wouldn't have blessed you with a child. He wouldn't have made you a mom or dad, right? So just know that there is faith, there is hope. You just have to keep it all within yourself. Just know that, okay? Um, Real quick, I just wanted to share a little background on myself. I come from Hispanic family, Mexican, Hispanic, Mexican American. I was born here in the United States of America. And, I lived a very tough childhood. I was, since from the womb, since I was in my mama's womb, till now, I still deal with things, but I've learned as a grown up now. And of course, later on throughout the video, I'll let you know how I dealt with things like that, traumatic events after traumatic events, I dealt with a lot of abandonment as a child, abuse, neglect. It was like I was dealt a bad hand in life, and it's okay. It's okay. I'm fine. Believe me, I'm okay. I'm fine. Um, you just have to learn how to shift it a different way, so that way you can be able to live a very comfortable and sane life, right? So, being that my mother was a full-blown heroin addict when she was pregnant of me, and she did use heroin. It's an opium. And for those of you who don't know what heroin is, it's a drug. It's an opium and something like that. It's a downer. It's a very crucial drug. It would drag you down. It would do a numerous number of things to you if you allow it to take that much of control of your life. So yes, as a baby, when I was born, I made it through the womb. Here I am, right? So I made it through the womb, and I made it to birth and stuff like that. And I don't know too much about what I went through, but I know from what I've heard, stories and stuff, like I was put on this drug, this medicine, as a baby, kind of similar to methadone, to break off of drugs as a newborn, So mind you, um, it affects you in the long run. It does affect you in the long run, and it sucks to say that, but it's okay. I don't mind it. I'm learning to deal with the punches, and I'm learning to, get the right help and stuff like that and so forth, right? So, yeah. So, long story short, as I was born, my grandmother, of course, took very good care of me. Um, my mom and my dad were both in and out of prison due to bad choices in life, drugs, and doing things they're not supposed to legally, illegally as well. And then so I was put in the care of my grandmother. So by the age of 5, I was basically translating for my grandmother. She couldn't see. I was taking care of an older lady, right? My grandma. So, by the age of 5, I learned how to wash dishes. I learned how to hang up clothes on the line. I learned how to do a lot of things, for my grandmother. Like, I was caring for my grandmother, pushing her in the wheelchair through the streets of Robstown, Texas. Um, and I remember like if it was yesterday, like I I cherish those moments, with my grandmother, because she showed me a lot. She showed me how to be a grown up, at a very young age, and I take that very, and I keep it in my heart, because that's, rest in peace, but I remember one time, real quick, one time, like, I remember I was pushing my grandmother in a wheelchair in Robstown, and we are going down where HEB is in Robstown, and I was pushing her in the wheelchair, and I remember my first baby I laid eyes on, and it was a doll. It was, like, behind the dumpster, and I, like, picked it up, and it smelled like mildew. It smelled like mildew, and I was okay with it. Like it was just so beautiful. Like of course the face had some scratches on it. This baby doll, and it was like so heavy, like a beanbag doll with a plastic face, and it was like a yellow onesie on this baby, and it was literally like a baby size, right? So I took it from the dumpster, and my grandma, like, she got mad at me because she didn't want me to pick it up, and I didn't care. I wanted that baby, I wanted that doll, and I got it, and I picked it up from the dumpster, and I took it with me, and she thought I threw it back in the dumpster, but in reality, I was pushing her in the wheelchair, and I just like held it with one hand, but made sure that I held her right, and I was just like, it was like the most happiest moment of my life at that moment, right? And mind you, I wasn't even a teenager yet. Like it was just, I we lived a very poor life, um, just a lot of things were done, and it's fine. So that was when I first knew, like, that's my first mother instinct that I felt like, hey, I can. This was my baby, and I didn't care if it was in the trash or not. Like I was gonna take care of that doll, and I did. I took care of it, and I cherished it for a very, very long time. Um, and that was when I fell in love with that baby, and I knew at that time that I I was going to be a mother for sure, right? So, mind you, years down the road, I always wanted babies. I wanted babies for Christmas and birthdays, and Barbie dolls, of course. And I would play house a lot. And like I always had like a mom and a dad. I had the whole family together, in when I was playing dolls, and I would always go and you know play house basically by myself, with these dolls and these babies and stuff, right? So I knew for sure, like, yeah, I have it in me. So anyway, long story short, um, my grandma passed away, of course, and I was, tossed around from family member to family member, and you know, dealt with a lot of not slavery, but my brothers used to clown on me and call me Cinderella, right? Because I was always cleaning, I was always doing chores, I was always like doing something, all the time, cooking, cleaning, just doing being Cinderella basically, right? Real life Cinderella. And so that was a part of, like, I wouldn't call that abuse or neglect. I would call that discipline, right? I was very well disciplined at that time by my aunt and my uncles, and they showed me a lot. They showed me that education was a must. They showed me that cleanliness was a must. OCD. That's when I first experienced that I had OCD problems. I experienced a whole bunch of sorry. So I experienced a whole bunch of that, right? And so when I was 12, I believe, 11 or 12, not sure. My dad and my mom came out of prison. My dad came out first, and I wasn't really so fond of my dad, right? I was just so angry with him. When my mom came out, I was like, "Oh yes, my mom's here. I'm gonna go with my mom. I love my mom. I mean, I still love her to this day. I love her. So I love my mom. It don't matter. My birth mom, I love her so freaking much. Like she's my world. I don't care what has happened to me in my life. It doesn't matter for me. It doesn't phase me. This lady is still my lady, right? My mom. I love her so much still. Because if it wasn't for everything that happened, and no, who knows what she went through, growing up. So I couldn't bash her for what I went through, right? Just with to grow from it and learn from it, correct, right? So I moved with her, and everything was going great. She spoiled me a lot, um, gave me a lot of freedom than what I was used to. Like, it wasn't really much discipline. And, I was in this funk in a way because my mother at the time had a partner. And I was so jealous and angry that she was always with this partner, and she was always everything with this partner of hers, right? And I didn't like it very much. And so I started getting into depression. I started experiencing suicidal thoughts. I started experiencing um, self harm. I did get put in the hospital, for suicidal attempts. I tried drinking bleach and just a whole bunch of crazy things, right? So I was in that road, and then I one day I overheard my mom and her partner talking how they had gotten a call from, I guess, a probation and parole officer, and basically, long story short, they had a dirty UA, and they were gonna revoke her parole or probation, whatever it was at the time. And I just me hearing that, like, it just like, whoa, like, no, like, I'm not about to lose my mom again. Like, I'm not going back to slavery. I'm done being Cinderella. Like, no. So at that time, I basically like took it upon myself, and I ran away. I ran away. I didn't know where I was going. All I knew is I went to the football stadium in Robstown, right? There's like around the corner from where I lived. And I sat there in the bleachers and I just thought about stuff, and I was just so angry, but that wasn't doing nothing for me. So I just kept seeing the B bus, pass by and pass by and pass by. And I was seeing people get on it and off. And I was like, I got curious, right? So I got on the bus, of course, and um, I got on it, and I didn't know where it was taking me. Well, mind you, Robstown, Texas is about 30 minutes away from Corpus. And by the time I knew it, I was already passing Annabelle, Calallen. Then I was in Corpus, this big old bus station. I was like, whoa, like, this is cool, right? Like, so when that happened, I got on another bus, and I wanted to go further and to see what this bus does. And well, there's a man, a gentleman, a boy there, and he was kind of like, schooling me, like showing me the routes of the bus stations and all this stuff. And you know, um, that's where I met the father of my first daughter, believe it or not. Um, and it was an experience, it was an experience. So we ended up sharing a bus together. I ended up getting off where he got off. We were talking and stuff like that, and I enjoyed his company, and it was comfort for me myself. I ended up, I needed to use the restroom. I went to his home, and one thing led to another. I ended up, going home. Well, I didn't go home. I took the bus, but I went to my cousin's house. I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what the hell I just did. Like, I didn't know, but all I knew is that I just did some adulting and I didn't know what to do. So I ran to my cousins, and my cousin Nana and Mimi. I ran to them, and my cousin Sarah. I went to them, and I was like, dude, like, I just effed up. Like, I don't know what to do or think or went on. And they're like, well, did you use protection? I'm like, what's that? Like, what? Protection? Yeah, like a condom. Like, where do you get those? And so they're like, what? You didn't use? Oh my God, you might come out pregnant. And then I'm like, pregnant? No, I'm too young to get pregnant. I can't get pregnant. Yeah, honey, you can. You know, so a little education on pregnancy. Once a female has a menstrual period, you're already, gaining, forming, your body to be able to have babies, right? That's what your menstrual period is for. So when I see a month pass by and I noticed I didn't start my cycle, 6 weeks passed by, 7, 8 weeks passed by, still nothing. And I was like, oh my God. Like, so mind you, around that time, while I was playing the waiting game, things were clashing between my mother and I and her partner. And I just wanted to die. Like, I didn't want to live no more. I was already, like, I tried drinking bleach. I tried, doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I just didn't like it. I was hurt. And so mind you, the day of me finding out that I was pregnant, 13 and pregnant, I remember that it was my last straw. Like, I was I was already walking to this pharmacy, right? I was walking to a pharmacy. It's called CVS in Robstown, and I was just walking, and I was like, I was already planning my suicide, right? And I wrote my letter out and everything to my mom and let her know how I felt. And behind there's a Pizza Hut, and behind there's like this clinic, right? And the clinic, a friend of mine, I was talking to her and her mom, and they said, no, you don't need an adult to find out you're pregnant. And I said, what? Yeah, that's a pregnancy clinic. I'm like, is it? So at that moment, that same day, I went over to the clinic. I told them my situation. No problem. They took me in real quick, gave me a pregnancy test, took me to the back. I had to, give them a urine sample, my urine in a cup. And then they tested with these things and put me in a room. And as I was sitting there, I was like, all right, it's for sure going to be negative, and I'm done with this life. And, I'm just over it, everything. And at that moment, the nurse and the doctor both walk in. And I just heard I'm like, oh, come in, And so they come in, and I see these pamphlets in their hands. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So they're like, I was like, so am I pregnant or not pregnant? They're like, well, congratulations, you're pregnant. And I'm like, shut up. They're like, what? I'm like, shut up. Like, what? No, yeah, you're pregnant. And I'm like, no way. Like, how? They're like, so that's the story of how I found out I was pregnant. So at that moment, instantly, it was like an instant, like, yeah, that suicidal thought was gone. Magically, poof, went away. I was like, whoa, like now I can be a mom. Like now I'm gonna be a mom. Like maybe I can like try to shift this, excuse me. It's probably one of my children. Oh yes, it is one of my children. This is my second child, and y'all later on will know the story of how she came along. And that's my 16-year-old. So back to the 13 and pregnant, and instantly it was like I was glowing, I was excited, and I was like, yeah, no more. That suicidal thought was gone. It was gone, and at that moment, I did not go back home. I took the next bus to Corpus because I knew how to take a bus now.
Where is it?
I took the next bus to Corpus.
Where is it? Sesame chicken?
It's over there. And
over there, mate.
I had to go tell my cousins the news, and I had to let them know everything. Like, oh my god, like I'm freaking pregnant, right?
Oh, this is in your weed,
So,
mate.
That was what happened. Excuse me.
Hello, mate. Oh,
There's no way we can pause the recording. You know sesame chicken?
No, but they get orange. They have orange.
What are
Coffee. It's good. It's good.
What's that?
These are egg rolls.
What are those?
Yeah, it's good. Oh,
Drinks
right here.
You know? Oh, you should have got him the other one, please. Okay, so I'm so sorry about the interruptions. So that's how I became 13 and pregnant. That's my story, the beginning of it at least. So you guys stay tuned for another live stream of the next part of the story. As I continue on making these videos for you guys, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it and follow me as well. And do share, guys, and don't forget, just share if you think it's interesting or intriguing in any kind of way. And if you want to know my story, keep following me, and I will keep posting. And then you guys know my story about being 13 and pregnant. So just stay tuned, and there's a lot more to this on how I how I ended up 13 and pregnant to 33 and 4 amazing kids and 2 grandbabies now at the age of 33. Wow, where has the time gone? So, guys, stay tuned and share, and like. Bye.
But what?